What is going on, y'all? Play versus Fall 2022 High School Championship, of
Woo!
course, featuring the FASA, the Florida Association of School Administrators, coming to you live with some League of Legends with me, and of course, you know him well, Aussie Champion. How you doing, dog?
Man, if they know me well, I'm doing good at this point, man. I am so amped to be bringing this finale for these amazing esports athletes live. It's going to be that best of 3 format that we've been rocking with, and I already know that the players are in the lobby ready to go, so we're going to get to jump into gameplay very shortly, get a chance to see what these picks and bans are looking like, and no, Suplex, this isn't your first rodeo anymore, man. You're going to have anything that you're looking forward to that we're going to get into as the game starts?
I'm looking forward to the next step heads, yo. I mean, I like to see good picks, of course. I've become a slow fan of Darius. It's so fun to watch. What the DPS can output, the control they have over team fights is something insane to watch. Mordekaiser as well has been so dominant. These characters have not only been really fun to learn about and watch, but also to see how players adapt around them, and if they are banned, how players will start to flex around different picks and see if they can go for different kinds of builds.
Well, you've been doing your homework. I'm very proud, Young Suplex. That was a very great breakdown of what exciting things we could be looking forward to, no doubt. And already bans flying across the board. We got Lucian and Yasuo banned, as well as Hecarim and Yone. All around just great, high priority bans that you want to get off the table. And then Blitzcrank, of course, that X factor of a support. He can really just have those hands that yank or defeat. Yank a win right out of somebody's hands and force them onto that defeat screen. So it is a great job. These early bans, everybody just doing exactly what they need to do here.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Blitzcrank too, so I'm really excited to see that character off the board. I never get to see Blitzcrank, I think, ever. I've never watched a League of Legends match where Blitzcrank's actually been a really effective and consistent pick, but it's a character I definitely hope we see in the future. But for now, I'm starting off with Caitlyn.
At the Worlds level, he's made very few appearances, but at the the regional level, all the different regions and whatnot, he comes out a little bit as a pocket pick. He's just a little bit subpar to the support Thresh at the highest level, who has that kind of lockdown engage with the big hook, but also just has so much safety and mobility as well in his kit. He can shield, he can move allies around well, he can get them inside of the cage and get a lot of slows, as opposed to Blitzcrank, who can really just lock down one person, have to wait for all those cooldowns to recycle. But that Mordekaiser that you spoke about is locked in, and a Caitlyn for the side of the Tempest. Abusive bot lane pick if that is going to be a point of power for this team. So exciting to see what they build around her, as she is picked blind, and that leaves her very susceptible to a dive comp. And with that Echo getting locked in, that is somebody who loves to be a menace to backlines.
Prime jungler there as well. I do want to mention as well, I wonder if we're going to see her support on the side of supporting Caitlyn here, because I'm not really sure who synergizes as well with Caitlyn.
Honestly, anybody that can help her be more annoying. She has the longest attack range in the bottom lane, so if she can just hammer people down as they try to CS and make every CS that they get so much more difficult by just raining down damage on top of them that they cannot trade back, since her range is so far, she can just be so dirty. So enchanters are great for her, people that help peel, people that help with lockdown. She has some confirms with like Nautilus and Blitzcrank. Interesting to see them ban that, because Caitlyn Blitzcrank is a tried and true lane. But Bel'Veth, I'm so excited to see locked in, and that Darius, who is so electric in the top lane. We've seen the Darius Mordekaiser matchup many a times, and it's 100% a skill matchup. Last time we got to see them, the Darius had a great time, and then the Mordekaiser was able to weather that storm and become this unstoppable team fight threat no matter what. So on the other side of things, more magic damage getting locked in by the Firebirds. Interesting to see what they're going to do to kind of cut through all this magic damage that they've drafted. But that Veigar, an infinite scaling threat that if, let's say, Veigar was released in 2022, people would be saying is the most broken character in the game. It's just because he's so old. I feel like people don't really think that, but his kit is ridiculous. Yes, insane lockdown. He can really just continue to scale forever. Like I said, infinite scaling. Whenever he last hits a minion or a champion with one of his skills, he gets 1 AP. And he can just continue to amplify that time and time and time and time again as he eats up CS waves and starts to delete champions off the map.
I mean, with over 150 champions, I can only imagine some characters start to fade away from the meta and start to kind of be seen as not as strong, even though their tools haven't really changed too much. But when those
Yeah,
new tools come up, when those new patches, new metas arrive, and you see a new tactic that just is going to work, this is what happens. Everyone starts falling towards it, and the kind of flow gets dictated by the newer stuff than people wanting to go back and do their homework to really get the old metas to come back alive, right?
you're 100% correct, man. That's exactly what I think about Vagar. And we're going to see Misfortune, Zerath, Renata Glask, and Pike taken off of the table here. These are all, you know, if there was like a comp picked of these bands that you see across the top of the screen, that would literally be one of the scariest comps. So great job by these teams to have some excellent bands coming out here in game one.
I feel a little afraid
Draven.
about Blitzcrank still, but I mean, hey, it is what it is.
I said they
Cal
needed
is coming
damage.
out.
I said they needed some AD damage, and they brought out the big boy Draven, going to be fighting his brother Darius on the other side of the rift now, and it will be Karma and Akali locked in for some mobility and backline access all around. Tempest has a really great composition. They're going to need to win, though, and they're going to need to get into the mid game. And like you mentioned, the Thresh, the Chain Warden, the man who locks down souls, is going to be downtown in the bot lane trying to help the Firebirds propel this Draven forward, get him so ahead of the Caitlyn that he's able to just walk up, delete her off the map, and take her tower, go to the mid lane, just delete everybody there. He's just gonna become this so accelerated because of his passive. Every single time he catches one of his spinning axes, he gets an extra gold for whenever he gets a kill. And that is just the value that starts to come out with that, with the top level Draven, is undeniable. Gold is the name of the game in League of Legends. If you get more gold, you have more stats. If you have more stats, you can afford to make more mistakes and just slap people in the face. So it is going to be so exciting to see these two teams go head to head. The Bel'Veth is going to be crucial to the success of the Tempest squad here. This jungler is so insane. She is the newest jungler. She also, I believe, is infinite scaling. Her attack speed can just continue to go up and up as he consumes souls across the map. So there is just so many things we're going to have to keep tabs on, so many interactions that we're going to get to watch, and hopefully Riot Spaghetti Code can handle this type of game that we have lined up, because there's all the things.
This will be fun. This will be fun. Now, absolutely. I haven't actually seen a lot of Karma yet, and I'm trying to wonder. So Karma, I'm assuming, is a support in this role here.
Yeah, 100%. She's a great support. She's going to do exactly what that Caitlyn wants, because she adds her E skill, gives a shield, as well as movement speed.
Oh, that's beautiful for a ranged build. Okay, here we go.
Her W is a tether, but over a little bit of time. So you have to stay nearby after casting the tether in order to really have it root onto that enemy that she casts it on. But if she stays nearby, that will lock up that opponent for the time that Caitlyn could put out one of her Yordle snap traps. They can start to just layer their combos on top of that. And the best thing about Karma is her ultimate is available from level 1. She's not one of those champions that has to wait till level 6 to have access to that. And what it does is it empowers her other 3 skills. So when she uses it with her Q, it does cost a bit more mana, but it makes this massive AoE explosion as opposed to just one missile go out. The W, it not only roots them, but it also heals her a substantial amount of health. And when she empowers her E skill, that shield that gives the movement speed, it doesn't just give it to one unit, it gives it to all the units inside of a radius. So, yeah, really great stuff that Karma can start to weave in and out of a fight and allow just so much support to so many team members, and then also aid in locking down. But on the other side of things, that Thresh is the pinnacle of some, high skill cap, but highest rewards possible. You're going to get to see him lantern this Echo in for ganks, as opposed to Echo having to kind of dive over walls and do silly things to make that happen. And it's just going to allow so much safety for the team. Vagar, also one of the most immobile mid laners, is going to feel so much safer knowing that the Thresh can just bail him out whenever he has that lantern on cooldown.
Yeah, so Thresh allowing Vagar to have so much more flexibility is really going to be something special. But I'm trying to get excited for this jungle battle, because I've seen Echo do so much work running through the field, being able to create so much space, and get so much recon as well. The vision game for a team like this will be something special, because you mentioned Vagar not too mobile, but Echo's going to do a lot of footwork here to make sure they can keep that vision game up and make sure they don't get caught by surprise too often, because one good gank from the side of Tempest here, and that could be a wrap. I mean, this team that Dural Academy Fireworks' build is really solid, but I can only imagine it needs some good time to get started at least.
Yeah, it will need a lot of ramp up on the Vagar. The Draven is where things are basically make or break in the acceleration of the early game. If Draven is able to just dominate this bottom lane, Vagar will be able to then rotate to the bot wave and just continue to farm that for free while Thresh and Draven have priority to go wherever they want on the map. They're closer to the dragon, they're closer to the Baron, they could rotate top, they could go down bot. They'll literally have access all day, and it's going to be so exciting. Look at these beautiful pans over Summoner's Rift, the 2022 iteration, trees and rivers and all the breaks and cracks and all the fights that we've done on this Rift. I love it. Just brings me back to a place of just happiness and nostalgia playing this game with my friends. And I'm so excited to be able to bring this Florida FASA Grand Finals to everybody live.
Yeah, I remember honestly just being in elementary school, just looking at this game like, dang, this is so incredibly over my head, but I am infatuated with how this game is playing out. Because when you're trying to look in from the outside, you don't really have too much actual game knowledge under your belt. It becomes a sudden like exploration of what these characters can do, what these team builds can do, what synergies there are, and how to really take space strategically in a game like this. And when you're not really fully educated on it, that trade game and that vision game can be so enticing to really get a real understanding of, because it goes so in depth.
Yeah, there's just so many layers to this beautifully crafted game known as League of Legends. There's a reason you cannot stop playing this once you really get invested. Once you get past that little power trough that everybody no doubt hits. So many characters, I believe, like we said, 162 champions now that you could launch onto the Rift, and there's only 10 bans at the highest level, so you can only take it down to 152. In thinking about the combinations, literally limitless at that point. The kind of different little niche pocket picks that people can start to really get good at and weave into these compositions with their team. But I hear some pings on the map, so that computer the keyboard issue must have been resolved, and looks like we're going to be getting on to the Rift very shortly to watch Tempest versus Doro Academy Firebirds A.
A little mini pause there, but we're in the action now. No reason to hesitate at this point. The teams are starting to run in. No insane 5-person jungle sweeps this time. No strategic little stealth plays. We're keeping it simple this time. You can see Karma jumping in the jungle there to get some vision down. Both teams are trying to really make sure their zones are carefully washed over and taking things slow.
Yeah, it's interesting to see this, fan out here, the very respectful opening, because all of the other finals, like you've kind of mentioned there, have had those very aggressive openings. I feel like both of these teams might be very even in power level. From looking at those bans, from looking at the picks, everybody seems very aware and very conscious of what's strong, what's to pick, what's to deny, and I'm excited to see how that's going to flesh out in the actual gameplay now. Where will we see an edge start to build, and where can we start to build that narrative of watch out for this cat?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get started here. I can only imagine Mordekaiser and Darius on each side will be two teams or two characters to watch out for in the top lane there. Real entertaining stuff you can see from those characters, and as we get started in the jungle battles here, see Dural Academy Firebirds and Tempest both starting to grind away in their respective jungle sides, and keep score slowly building. Nothing too crazy happening yet, but just you wait. The game's only just begun.
Oh yeah, the opening moment sometimes very intense, but here we get to have a nice chill start to things. Patrick Bateman getting a huge spinning axe to connect to this Karma Heroes. They're actually just going for a strong wave push. They want to keep this Draven under the tower so that he's not able to harass and poke down and eventually get one of those first kills that would provide him so much extra gold. So good mind by the Tempest to really accelerate the push on that wave. Traded a little bit of health for it, but speaking of trading health, Nigerian Lord hits level 2 early on user his name, and he might have to flash out of this exchange here. Very dangerous, full bleed stacks now engaged. That is a lot of damage in a first trade, but no flash to be used. He's going to be fine for the time being. Will need that Doran shield to help him out, though.
Yeah, barely missed out his life there. Just a sliver of health. If you can see, they're still fighting up top, but the bot lane as well has got plenty of action. You have back up to the top lane here, and you can see slowly recovering. User its name is hanging in there, but how long we would have stayed there until get broken through by the Lord over there, the Darius.
Ooh. Great smite by Godhand to deny this counter jungle attempt by Cadman, but the Bel'Veth damage is too much. First blood onto the ravenous or void walking monster. Going to be going crazy now with that first kill and taking the double buffs off of Godhand. That is so huge. Going to slow down his jungle so much and really make him less effective when he does show up to a lane for a gank.
I mean, it's also terrifying to think that you're going to be that much more behind on the jungle game. And on top of that, your amount of vision you're going to lose from losing that one exchange is massive. And also, no flash on deck for another, what, say, 4 minutes?
Yeah, it's a full 5-minute cooldown, exactly. So we're going to have to see if they're able to make another play there. But Cadman getting the work done and just still able to ravage through the map. Going to just take the time that is needed to clear things out. Also going to possibly come down here and bring a little bit of pressure to this Draven, but not going to show for the time being. Just cleaning up the rift, and yeah, now we do see some pings down there. Looks like they're trying to bait into the fight, but as we say that, Echo's also there in the top lane to help out Nigerian Lord. Huge lifesteal to come in, and actually does get the trade kill.
In bot lane, I'm not sure what happened here, but we've seen some trades, of course. You can see Firebird's retreating from it for now. He's getting that recall in.
Yeah, it
buy
looks
some
like
more items.
Patrick Bateman had to flash, so very successful bait to gank to come out from Cadman. Smoke Guap getting close to Mounty here.
Just putting the pressure on the mid lane there. Just want to make sure you can still show off on those trades. Don't want to get seen as looking like you're going to cower away from a fight and just take the damage for free. Gotta answer back.
A lot of momentum going the way of Tempest here. Huge advantages reaching across the map. Even though Nigerian Lord did fall in the top lane, look at the wave he has to absorb. He's already 2 CS ahead, and there's like 12 CS walking towards him. So much experience that he was able to deny from user its name by getting that trade kill, even though Godhand did show up. So Patrick Bateman gonna have to play so much safer now as well, knowing that this Bel'Veth is gonna clear her jungle and be on that bot side to possibly force another gank.
You can see as well, the pressure is on in the mid lane. You see, of course, Guap is trying to recall back, get some more items for a moment, give Mounty a chance to actually push forward and see if they can do something with these minions. Creep spawn going head to head now, but they're also going to recall, get some more items on deck. The top lane here, it's quite a little violent exchange here, a little flash. Real quick. Was it even a flash? No.
Yeah, that was the flash for Ghost. Yeah, Ghost was turned on by the Darius, trying to put some pressure on to continue to deny CS from user its name. You already see that top gap is starting to widen. 35 now. That is a full kill's worth of gold ahead just in CS by this Darius now, and he already also does have the kill lead. So important for user its name to get some relief here. Possibly gonna need to see the team lend some aid to this guy before this Darius starts to become too much of a problem. And speaking of no flash on Patrick Bateman, there is the return gank, as I said could happen. There wasn't even a red buff picked up by Cadman before doing that, so the timing just not expected by Patrick Bateman. No way he's going to be here this quick, but to the surprise, unfortunately, of the Draven, now going to lose a lot of those stacks that he had begun to accumulate as well. He does lose half the stacks on his passive on death, so going to be important to possibly find some way to ignite this Draven now, because the Caitlyn, if ahead, can just pot shot time and time again onto this Draven and make him nullified there in the bot lane.
I hate to see some mobilization like that. I mean, on one hand, it can be at least counterplay with a counter gank, but I don't know. When Cadman's allowed to run free in the jungle like this, I am terrified from the side of Doro Kami Firebirds here. I would not want to fight against someone like that, because, of course, Godhand's lost initial lead of the jungle. Yeah,
Cadman is a madman. This guy is unleashed, going out, going crazy. And speaking of going crazy, that Darius in the top lane, I said some relief might be warranted. And yeah, we're getting to see the full image of that now. You got to just get full stacks on, throw the ult. You know the bleed damage is enough, and look at the wave that is denied. Nobody there to absorb all that delicious money. The turret becoming the strongest person here on Summoner's Rift.
I mean, hey, the turrets, you gotta watch out for those, yo. The control you need to have over these turrets is one thing, but on top of that, being able to properly not only force someone back towards their turret, but being able to control the creep spawn, to be able to make sure that it's held at an opportune place for jungle to come in, swoop in, and help out those team fights is so important. And we're seeing a great job of that down there in the bot lane.
Well, the picks and bans were very even, but here in the first 10 minutes of the game, we are seeing advantages across the map in favor of Tempest. Every single person donning a little bit more CS and a little bit more gold, you know, besides Cadman, who has been ganking left and right to try to start stacking up those attack speed buffs onto the Bel'Veth. Also, just clearing out neutral objectives. Don't forget that Mountain Dragon that was picked up early in the game. Now Rift Herald also being scooped. So I believe that that will provide the pressure that is needed to just fully unlock this Darius. He's going to keep this wave stacked right by his turret so that Cadman can get the Rift Herald, go top, get the gank, and they'll just break through this top lane turret, accelerating everybody across the map, because that first turret, whoever gets it, provides 200 gold to every other member on the team as well, not just the people that are nearby.
Ooh, that's interesting. Actually, I wasn't quite sure about that stat, but that actually can be a huge shift in the economy here. And we're already seeing a pretty large gap as 14.5 to 12.5.
And that's why we're seeing Godhand get active here, going down to the bot lane and trying to shut down this Caitlyn, who is getting a massive lead. Patrick Bateman gonna cash out there on the Draven. You're seeing the stacks, you're seeing the fame. Everybody loves Draven. He's gonna push in this wave, and actual Cornet kind of playing with fire here, trying to bait in Godhand, but that man can chrono shift out of anything. And on the other side, the trade of pressure going in for Cadman, who does get brought down to that dark realm that the Mordekaiser can bring it to, but the storm has been weathered. Will they continue to push onto User its name and get this kill? No. He gets to go back, he gets to be safe, and that Rift Herald that I was theorizing would possibly get dropped in the top lane will be denied for at least that much longer.
A huge survival from Cadman there. That was so quintessential to holding that lead, holding the momentum, and being able to keep really rolling in the jungle here with full control, because I don't think I've seen Godhand really chilling in the jungle for a minute now.
Yeah, he's been able to clear it out, and now he's able to get active, so that's so important. Nigerian Lord, though, still with this massive wave advantage, and is going to flash in here, knowing that that ultimate is down from User's name. Going to get the full Darius stacks now. That E just a little bit misplaced there by User's name, so that is going to allow Nigerian Lord to get closer and do the work. That bleed will tick, and it will do the work that needs to be done to get a 3-1 lead onto this cat. Now the gaps are being closed onto the Vanguard. Flash perfectly timed, and he will evade the pressure for now, but that's a 5-minute cooldown, his only escape in the mid lane. They can make this repeat trip as much as they want before 15 minutes.
Yeah, very nice play so far. The Godhand trying to chase down the Lord himself.
Oh, so scary for Godhand here. Nigerian Lord is not one to be toyed with. Yes, you have to back out of that situation. Even though it looked like Godhand had the upper hand in the fight, Nigerian Lord could just do the Conqueror stacks, his Keystone trait that he basically locked in onto this Darius, and he will be able to just get enough lifesteal to maul through this Echo. It was very important that he got through. Yeah, even though he looked low, he wasn't low enough, especially without the Echo having access to his ultimate. Smoke Guab kind of whiffing a lot here, but still getting it done with the Ignite.
Yeah, very clean so far. That's huge mid control. You clear out this creep wave. Get a bunch of money for it. Level up as well. Super huge for the side of Tempest. Being able to control a little bit more space, creates that more breathing room, and really allow Cadman, again, to roam free. You see Cadman closing in on that bot lane, trying to support Caitlyn down there. We see a little bit of a push outside of Firebirds, trying to take control.
User its name is having the worst day for a top laner. You never want to go to top lane and have this be the experience. So great job by Nigerian Lord to just be that, you know, annoying laner that is doing exactly what he's supposed to do with this lead. Just keeping the wave near his turret, always threatening a gank from Cadman whenever you can't see him. But Cadman now showing in the bot lane here onto Patrick Bateman. Will also get the kill, not even gonna let the ace in the hole do the damage there. Boy, will be the second prize. Yeah, and that's gonna get donated to Hurricane. And just like that, Nigerian Lord going a little bit too far under the turret there. Shutdown gold to this Mordekaiser, and that is going to be huge. They will be able to now trade with this Darius, because I believe that was 600 gold that we saw pop over. It will be very even in gold, but the Rift Herald was dropped in bot. The Chemtech Drake is getting picked up, and the pace is just non-stop. It is relentless from the Tempest.
Very, very impressive play. Like, the amount of pressure that Tempest is putting on right now is something else. Firebirds have little answers so far. They've got ideas, they've got solutions, but they have yet to really put it fully into practice as this lead is only growing. I can only imagine it being pretty scary right now. This team fight's going insane. Actual comments down for the count. And once again, we're going to see who comes out on top. Cabin's trying to fight for it. The attack speed is so high, but Bateman's got there as well. They're able to back off. Just breathe, just breathe. They're both going to stay alive for now, but...
This is going to be a kill donated perhaps to the Draven Hurricane, having to be on the other side of enemy lines here, trying to get away from this Draven who is weaving and kiting back and forth perfectly here in this fight. And that will be Patrick Bateman actually falling as Cadman and Hurricane did what needed to be done.
It must be done. Some crimes will be forgiven.
Oh, you hate to see it. Oh, you hate to see
it. And a dive.
Also getting cleaned up between the turrets there. Oh, so much pressure just continuing to mount from the side of the actual Cornet with a little bit of a scrap here against the enemy mid laner. The support from bot lane starts fighting you. You know that you are way more behind than you want to be at 14 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if that's going to be the case, I would have to recommend Mounty tries to at least gather up with somebody else, start ganking if they can, try to provide support what they can. Overall, like, don't throw yourself at the problem. Make sure you can throw as much support as you can at somebody else's problem, if it's going to be the case, right?
Yeah, that is a lot of stuff to be piled onto the plate for Doro Academy to finish. You know, they got a little bit of steak, a little bit of potatoes. They rocking, you know, the whole chocolate milk, like 24 ounces.
Milk?
Yeah, heavy, man. I'm talking heavy meal that they are having to digest from the Tempest. It's a lot to stomach. And I don't know if I'd want to be the one that has to sit down and finish or lie in the bed that they've made here with all these massive gold leads. You see the bounties starting to spread across. There was one taken off of the Darius from him just feeling like he was king of the world up there in the top lane. But besides that, it has just been amazing stuff shown from the Tempest.
Yeah, not to mention as well, I mean, it has been really, really solid play inside of Tempest, but they've managed so effectively to take a lead early and then not overcommit. They've been really good at team fights. They've been really good at not overextending and getting caught off guard. Overall, this mid fight's gonna go pretty quick as we see smoke go up, try to get anything inside a Comet, but no dice this time. Let them escape, no problem. It's all good. We can see Mounty and Godhand having to flee a 2v2 like that.
Oh yeah, that is not the kind of fights that you want to pick up. The kind of skirmishes that they want revolve around all 5 members being nearby. So you're going to want to see Doro Academy avoid all skirmishes here in the mid game. There's a big power trough here on the Caitlyn, so I'd love to see them target her down here in this bot lane. She is left all alone to her own devices, as you see here, which is allowing Patrick Bateman and friends to rotate up before the Caitlyn. But the kind of lead that is across the other 4 members, I feel like a 4v5 is a little scary as well. They gotta continue to farm and possibly even get a second item onto this Echo, get a completed item onto this Veigar before trying to walk up and do some crazy damage, because they don't really have the kind of stats that they need to take down anybody meaningful on the side of Tempest.
Yeah, and when Firebirds are back in this kind of corner where you need the entire team to actually initiate a team fight, any team fight at all, whether it's a 2v2, a 3v4, a 5v2, like, if you had to put everything into one situation that leaves everything else open, and then of course you can't always do it all the time. So I'm thinking we're probably going to see at least a huge team fight coming up here. But Payman's gonna go down fast. Of course, Godhand's sorely behind him, and let's cancel it real quick. Yes, mix it out real quick. But
there was no team fight needed. Patrick Bateman just caught lacking in rotation, and there are some nice trade kills going across. The Akali was killed, but other than that, it is the Tempest getting to lay siege. It is the Tempest continually advance there in the mid lane. Double kills now onto this Caitlyn, who I said was going to have a little power trough. That would have been until about 2 or 3 items, but now she is accelerated. She is engaged. She is also going to get the second inner turret gold, and possibly even the inhibitor turret, as the Rift Herald gets a second charge off in the attack speed behind this Belveth and Caitlyn. They are just doing mad work. They will even have a dragon to fall back on here in the next 15 seconds, so they're going to clear out the jungle and get another Drake added to the stat line, and that's going to be Soul Drake as well. Everything that the Tempest need are lined up. It is on the Doro Academy Firebirds to make a call to do something here and not just continue to get farmed in their jungle.
You cannot exist around Cadman. Going for that pick, God hand, but not going to make it out alive. It's not even a chance when Cadman's got this much of a roll going. Hasn't died a single time, and yet is only momentum building. Like you said, that attack speed keeps building, that movement speed clearly is looking pretty good. It's just something else when you let a player get out of control like this, and in the game like League, it's looking to be about over.
Cadman out here looking like that alien from Nope.
Yes.
Flying, medicine. Don't look at him. You're gonna get absorbed and deleted off the map. And oh my gosh, look at the pressure just going on. Quadra kill was given to Cadman, and you know, who knows where that's gonna stop. Will the Firebirds have the damage to quell this insane void spawning? And they will. Guap gonna shut down, continue the pressure as the shutdown did come on to Cadman, but there is a great team fight in response here from the Firebirds. This is everything that they needed and more. They're gonna actually get the kill as well onto Patrick Bateman. Can they get another great 90 caliber net to come out from Hurricane to try to deny this advance for the time being, but the flash is there. The shutdown gold is engaged, and Draven is so big now, but will it be enough? We still see a 10,000 gold lead in the hands of the Tempest here.
I do want to mention, just overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. It is something special when you see a push that effective from the side of Tempest. They had so much momentum rolling into the base of Firebirds, but you saw Cabinix overextend just a bit, taking on a 1v3. Now I know you're powerful, I know you've been rocking it the whole game, super solid the entire time, and when God Hand walks right through your team as well, something's going on, because right now Cadman kind of led his team to dying in that team fight by going a bit too early.
And gave away 1,000 gold shutdown. Mans was legendary and went so deep for those kills. I'm not sure what Cadman thought could happen. There was no real healing allotted in this kit besides the Blade of the Rune King. And if, you know, user's name showed up, which user's name did show up, it was just going to be so much devastating pressure to come out. But you see the friends swarming the Baron, and with that Baron, they were able to get the push. We hopefully gonna jump in to see it, but I think that that's all she wrote. We saw how impressive the power and the damage output from the Tempest squad was looking, and man, that was a pop-off game from the jungler. Cadman is an absolute unit.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Cadman was looking absolutely insane. I mean, the momentum from Cadman that they had the entire time was not only something to be completely untouchable, but it led the team to victory clearly, as we saw a little bit of an early cutoff there. Of course, Riot Games, League of Legends isn't perfect, but we rock with it as much as we can.
You know, one day we'll be at the PlayVS arena with all these teams invited, and we'll be able to just have that beautiful LAN seamless experience. But for now, we are just laying that beautiful foundation. Thank you so much for you know, bearing with us through that little bit of a client bug, and we got to see the Tempest were victorious. They're now up 1-0. In very convincing manner. So it's going to be on the Doro Academy Firebirds to come out swinging here in game 2. But before that, we're going to give these esports athletes a little bit of a break, a little bit of talk with the coach, and we will be right back with even more high school championships fall 2022 gameplay. Well, welcome back, my friends. We had now wrapped up on a crazy game 1 from the Tempest. We did get to see that victory screen at the end, that they were able to get that Baron objective, use those empowered minions and all those huge stats that they had on that Bel'Veth, and just parade down the mid lane. I'm not, you know, gonna say that was unexpected at that point, but man, they had really just started to come alive there in the mid game. It was awesome to see. I would love to see the Firebirds here take a massive shot back in game 2.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the Firebirds put up a really good defense. They tried their hardest to see if they could find some counterplay there, but playing the numbers, trying to really get those team fights going on, trying to really at least isolate 1 or 2 players on the side of Tempest to really start reversing that flow. But speaking of flow, you can't stop Cadman. It was just too much momentum built up for them. That jungle play was way too clean. You can see immediately that character's gone.
Yeah, Cadman has not, been playing League of Legends for that long. In my own research I did in between those games, he is sitting now after only having a little bit of exposure into this game at the top 25,000 here in the region. Millions of people
Whew.
play this game, and there's Cadman rising through the ranks and showing why this guy is an absolute threat. They take away Hecarim, which I don't doubt is a favorite little flavor pick for him. That is a great jungler. And the Belveth, like you said, will be denied, as well as Renata Glask. Across the other side of things, Tempest are going to deny the Yasuo, Lucian, and Blitzcrank. Just same kind of carpet bans that they had before. Take off some real nice, powerful picks, and honestly did take a little bit of a crack there at Patrick Bateman and Void.
I do want to mention, just go back real quick about what you mentioned there for Cadman's actual rank. I just want to shout out the Florida Association of School Administrators for not only being able to cultivate this kind of talent, but nurture this kind of talent and give it a true stage to play on. I mean, it's not often you get players this high caliber in a match like this, but it's even less often that you get to actually be on the other side or on the team of like a bracket like this and a team like this where you're able to absorb so much information, you're able to have such high level gameplay and really be able to build up strategies for your region, for your state, and be able to really evolve as a player through matches like this that are so intense, right?
Big shout out and big love to Florida FASA. You're not wrong. And there are some picks getting locked in. Yon making it through the bans and getting scooped up by the Firebirds. On the other side of things, Aurelia and Varus. I've been wondering where Aurelia is at. The character didn't change, but she is still that girl. She is so oppressive in the top lane, can do so much work. I'm not sure if with the jungle changes, if she's now a jungler. She did have a little bit of a season of being kind of like a dark horse jungle pick, so would be interested to see if that's the flex. But I do really expect it to go in the top lane to Nigerian Lord, and that is a character that can weave and blade dance in and out of fights, just going crazy. Misfortune being in addition to this Yon, and the third pick being hovered here by Mountie. I love the time that they're taking here just to really flesh things out, be cerebral, and at the end of the day, lock in the Xerath.
Ooh.
It's like a mortar, just can continue to rain down these massive AP hitboxes, and it will be very great if the Firebirds are able to poke down their enemies with that skill and with the Misfortune. But on the other side of things, it's locked and loaded as ever from the Tempest. They're now looking to hover this Ashe. It might be the Varus in the mid lane. Aurelia still that flex pick. Ashe could also be either a support or an AD carry. So, if you're on the Firebirds right now, you're scratching your head like, we don't even know where anybody's going, what their lane assignments are. What do we do?
What do I do? What am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
It's probably gonna solve real quick. I mean, we got time on deck at least. Some good bans coming in. Now, I do want to at least mention this top lane pick because I haven't seen these characters face off ever. And I do want to at least dive into that with you a little bit about what the real counterplay could be, or at least what these tools are that each team has to really try and take control.
Well, Aurelia is this really amazing bruiser that's able to shred through resistances as well as get backline access through kind of marking people with some of her skills that she has. So you're going to get to see her ultimate kind of lay out a bunch of blades that if people cross, she can dash to them, applying some really big damages behind that, and then on top of that just be a really sticky character that she is, and just slice through them. She can do it to tanks, she can do it to squishies. Nobody really feels difficult for a fed Aurelia to cut through. So she is a true bruiser in that nature. Like, not going to be the tankiest, but she does have built-in tenacity to her kit. Like, the more people that are around her, the more stuns and immobility and all those kind of things, the faster they wear off.
Ooh. So really good CC control at least, or CC survivability.
Yeah, she's able to really just get through all the people trying to say, no, don't come back here. And she's like, unfortunately, you still have to deal with me. And now those cooldowns are down and I'm able to do my thing. A Sejuani, a great pairing for the Aurelia. You will no doubt see Cadman playing through the top lane onto this Mordekaiser. User its name, having to play very carefully here. And it's going to be on God Hand as well to support his top laner, because the Sejuani will be able to have her passive kind of go on to the Aurelia. They're going to be able to lock down people, perma-stun people in their own way, and just kill anybody that they want. And in the top lane, or the jungle perhaps, is going to be a Shen pick.
Interesting.
Shen is the ninja who can arrive on a whim. He has the ultimate that can literally teleport him globally across the map to an ally and add them with a huge shield. When he comes in as well, there is a sword that will follow him. That sword creates a circle around him, and he's able to make all auto attacks inside of that circle miss.
No. What?
I love you. I love just watching your reactions to everything. On top of that, he has a skill that lets him dash across a little bit of a distance. It's not the longest dash. It's about a flash in length. And he's able to taunt everybody that he crosses and get a whole bunch of energy in doing so. He's not a resource-based champion. Ooh, okay, so Aurelia mid lane, Olaf in the jungle, Sejuani top, Varus brought an Ashe to support. So scary. The lockdown, the stickiness, the survivability. There are so many X factors going into the draft that has been commented there by Tempest. But on the other side of things, Dora Academy doing a great job picking up what they can to respond to it. They have Poke. They have, like I said, that Shen who can, if you're starting to get outplayed, just kind of be that get out of jail free card, adding an extra body into any fight. Mordekaiser will be going able to take some person out of the fight, one person at that, and possibly steal a lot of stats when coming back into a fight. So they have some answers. They have some ways to kind of get out of this death ball that has been concocted by the Tempest squad. But in general, it is just really easy to pull off what the Tempest have concocted.
Very nice. I mean, I do also want to shout out Olaf there. It slipped my memory as to what Olaf really has in store for us, but in the bot lane, I'm surprised to see a bruiser like that.
Yeah, Olaf is just as Nordic as it gets. He is a Viking through and through. He charges at his problems head first, and his ultimate ability is what most people use him for. He's able to make all types of lockdown onto him nullified. He can break through any route. He can break through anything. For the time that he has that active, he is untouchable in that sense. He also has an insane amount of lifesteal, an attack buff, attack speed steroid, and his Q is an undertow. It's this axe that slows everything that it hits. Once he picks it up, it refreshes the cooldown as well. So once he starts to tag you and drag you and get behind you, you cannot get away from this guy. He just starts to put this true damage E skill behind it and do too much damage for anybody to deny. So his backline access paired with the Aurelia, paired with the Sejuani passive, where they're going to basically be able to stun anybody they want. It's going to be so dirty, man. Oh, Tempest, you guys are some sly dogs.
I do also I'm shocked to see not only so much anti-CC from the side of Tempest, but a lot of just really raw damage from their side. And I'm going to hope to see some really good effective team fights come out from that, because on the side of Firebirds, they've got plenty of damage on their side as well. And it's just looking like whoever can get that initial jungle control, whoever can get that initial lead of economy, this could be another swift game.
Firebirds have kind of opted for all damage here in response, which is kind of going to be their demise if they do not get a lead early. That Sejuani is one of the tankiest characters in the game. She is so annoying. She can just continue to ravage and knock up and stun and really honestly do a lot of damage. You can see Sejuani literally solo down carries in the late game if she's ahead of them. And that's going to be just so frightening to come into the hands of Nigerian Lord, who we saw understands his characters very well. He knew every single damage breakpoint on that Darius. He was able to just get last second kills with the smallest amount of health because he was just so well versed in that matchup in the top lane. And once again, he's going to get to fight this Mordekaiser who he already knows how he plays.
Yeah, on top of that, the adaptation we're going to see from this match could be something special. We saw a lot of really, really solid defensive play from the side of Tempest. Being able to hold that lead simply and effectively, not overcommitting too much, except for at the end there where they had a little bit of a slip up in that final push, or in that second to final push. But once again, Firebirds, you have a chance here to really catch them off guard. If you can really get this lead initially and force them to back off for at least a little bit and force that economy to be on your side, this could be a swift game for them.
Yeah, exactly that. They have so much damage. The Yone, they can layer that down with the Misfortune. The Shen can taunt things up and disrupt a lot of what gets put onto their side from the Tempest squad, and they could possibly really run away with this game. But it's going to come down to some expert performance because of the fact that they have no true tank. The only true tank that they have, the Shen, is going to be so starved for resources. He's going to be so behind because he's a support Shen. Supports notoriously just have the lowest level and the lowest amount of gold, sometimes by half compared to carries in the late game. So he's not going to have those. Oh, okay, he is in the top lane. I'm sorry. So it's going to be that tank in the top lane. It's going to be the Xerath support. I guess we didn't get to see them switch and trade around as things were locked in there. So it will be the Misfortune Xerath and a Cadman. I told you those undertows can continue to come out, and we'll see if he's able to lock down God Hand here.
Immediate Mordekaiser. They're going all in for this first blood, and there it is! Hardly even a minute into the first match. Into the second match here.
And Cadman can keep going. He has the Conqueror. He has more undertows ready, and there is a great flash coming out. Cadman not waiting with that undertow the right amount of time. Olaf, the lower his health, the faster his attack speed. That's something you have to watch out for as well. Right now, I don't doubt his attack speed is looking like 1.5, 1.6. That means he'd be basically getting 2 attacks out a second, 3 times more than anybody at this point in the game. So just such a great jungler. Yeah, that's why you see him even just start with the longsword. He's not even going to want to have any items. He's going to start with the longsword because he has that buff and he doesn't even need any sustain. He just wants to stay as low as possible and put out as much damage as possible.
And we mentioned before, I mean, that initial pick can mean so much for the side of Tempest here, and that could be the snowball start that they needed to really get this game flowing in their direction. But now it's all up to the Firebirds to really clap back. But looking like this, Tempest is ready for this initial gank, just hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, Hurricane.
Support, but it's looking pretty bad.
Hurricane really getting called out there in the brush on some aggressive positioning, though. But there's the trade back, the clap back. Nice job by the Firebirds to get a small advantage started here in the lane. It's small, but those little micro transactions start to all add up into that wallet that they are trying to build up. First blood already into the hands of this Olaf, though, is going to make him such a scary threat. He's going to clear jungles so fast. Now he can definitely take any one-on-one or maybe even a 2-on-1 that turns into a late 2v2 if he wants to, because he'll sustain so much. And that's why you're seeing him invade here on the red buff, because he knows God Hand has no business testing him.
Yeah, God Hand, I mean, has to show up as well. You can't just allow Tempest to start dunking on you like this. When it comes down to it, respect is required. You gotta make sure you earn that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for God Hand. He did not even get to see inside of this brush. He did not see with any vision that Cadman had started on the red buff and that it was pulled into the brush. So Cadman going to get donated a second kill and deny every single resource that this Mordekaiser needs to get started in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking dominant already from Cadman in the jungle there. God Hand is going to need to find a way to at least figure out an assassination attempt on Cadman here to slow him down. But it's just going to be like balling up more and more and more as we see creep score go up, gold go up. The bounty you can see already is on Cadman's head.
The bot lane from Tempest as well this time just picked double 80 carry to just bully Patrick Bateman and Void to the point of anytime they walk up to the wave, they are in danger of just becoming unable to stay for any significant amount of time. God Hand unfortunately getting caught here in the jungle, in the river. That Conqueror is now engaged. The true damage is on, the sustain is in, but there is Mounty with the clap back kill. Double buffs onto this Yone will be so dangerous for the Aurelia to fight into, and that's why you're seeing a double kill now in the hands of this Yone. He is online here in the early game, 2 kills, and going to be able to push out this wave, deny that remaining little bit of CS from this Aurelia, and start to get a level advantage. Possibly look for a very easy kill at level 6.
Really solid save there from the Firebirds to keep themselves in the game there. And also, not to mention, Tempest is holding the lead, but only barely. They're keeping up. That lead is not going to fall in their hands too easily, and Firebirds have at least a chance to clap back and make sure they can at least not allow Tempest to get that snowball going to its maximum potential. It's terrifying to think about. I mean, we saw how Cadman was able to just run through jungle and control it the entire time last game. If you're able to shut that down early, do it. Because Cadman, as you can see in the jungle here, getting that red buff, you cannot let them go unchecked. You see User's name going for it to fight in the top lane here. The Lord going down possibly for the count here. See the damage pile up. Really solid stun here. Getting some good damage on the board. A little trade. Nothing too fancy, but it's enough to have a gold interaction and put some fear in the heart of Firebirds to not just come over and do damage anytime they want.
Yeah, 100%. Smoke Guap taking a little bit of a favorable trade there with that massive minion wave. Greedy exchanged by Mounty, who was going to be very safe to just go back and clean up that wave. So much in the hands with these double buffs. Olaf soloing the Drake here on spawn to just start to get that timer ticking towards a soul Drake. We'll be looking at a 25-minute soul if he continues to just grab that on spawn. And in 2 minutes, I'll be very interested to see if Cadman just goes to the enemy red buff and gets it right off the timer. Since he already has that tempo on Godhand, who wasn't really sure when he cleaned it up, he didn't get the exact 5-minute timer on that buff. He's going to now be in the dark, and Cadman is going to be able to continue to just get that buff on spawn, deny that massive fight steroid for the Mordekaiser, and it's just going to continue to mount this gold lead in the favor of Tempest.
Yeah, I mean, it's growing once again. Almost at, pretty much a full 1k lead, as we see it just slowly scaling up, but again, Firebirds, you've got to find a solution, a plan at least to get one person from side of Tempest caught off guard, caught lacking for just even a moment to get that pick, increase that lead, or at least catch up to that lead, and start putting yourself in the shoes of the attackers at least.
Really great stuff here in the opening moments from the Tempest. Will they be able to keep this pace though? Because Doro Firebirds came out to play. They are not taking this lying down. They do have a massive gold advantage onto this Yone, who is having a tough time trying to exchange with Smoke Guap here, but the Yone is resourceless. That is always going to be to his benefit here in the matchup against the Aurelia. After she cycles through these skills a couple times, it's unfortunate for her. She's just going to have to rely on auto attacks, while Yone will be able and afforded to just do everything on cooldown time and time again.
And especially to get worried as well. You can see the side of Firebirds completely out of the jungle at this point. Not quite contesting for much. And Cadman again, just grinding away in there, getting plenty of damage, plenty of level ups, plenty of money to work with to eventually start running through the enemy team. Firebirds, now's your time to clap back and really get in there to start picking off somebody, anybody.
You know, I'm feeling like this is the slowest we've seen Cadman play in about, well, that's 3 minutes of him not just wreaking havoc, and as I say that, starts to do what needs to be done, pressuring Godhand out of his jungle, and that red buff is spawning, but he's not going to get it. Looks like they're all rotating to get this Rift Herald on spawn. Possibly try to get this Sejuani out of lane, allow her to be the free roaming kind of CC bot that she can be, and lend into fights very early, just accelerating past the laning phase and just bringing us right to mid game, even before the timer would suggest that we should be there.
To see as well, User its name, trying to really fight that top lane as well, trying to provide support to the teammates, but on top of that, really trying to at least keep, I believe that's Hurricane? No, that's Cornet up there? Yeah, Cornet. Trying to keep them off deck, off the offensive, as they recall for some more items, but it's going to be getting pretty hectic here as we see Cadman get in there. They're closing towards Mounty.
So clean, so fresh. Mounty Express train towards the Olaf. Actual Cornet getting poked and prodded and possibly going to fall here to the massive God Hand. Will fall. And that is now a great ultimate to come out from God Hand. Will he feel safe enough? He can walk up and just take this Q, but we'll just let...
Huge misfortune ult.
Yeah, we'll just let him pop out of the realm there and let Misfortune take the kill with the bullet time. This Sejuani is such a great counter pick by Nigerian Lord. I believe actually the Shen picked this matchup. I believe the Sejuani was already locked before this Shen was. And if so, that's so sad to see. But a cleanup patrol is here. he can be exhausted through that ultimate, and that was a great exhaust to come out. The Shen ultimate coming in clutch from User Its Name, and he's right back to things to save the team. And now the counter engage comes in. Smoke Guap, you're a little deep and getting called out on that positioning, but the Aurelia is so mobile. The Aurelia cleaning up at least one and now two. Double kill with the Ignite and the little bit of W action to come out. Yone with 2 kills lined up in his sights. Will Mounty be able to clean these kills up? Yes, he will! What a huge taunt to come out from Shen! And that is the Firebirds taking flight here in game 2!
Oh, that was exactly what they needed. Absolutely incredible counter gang. You can see just how infected that really is. Just diving right in, getting 2. I can't believe they got 2 off to start us with. But to move on as well, I mean, it has been an incredible counterplay from Firebirds, not only to group up like that properly and prepare for that fight, but to be able to properly counter it, walk away with it positive, and also to even that economy up even more and actually take the lead.
Yeah, last time we saw Doro Firebirds get these kind of advantages, it was not across the board like this. Now every single person really able to put their hands on that gold. Ash, another ulti to come out on spawn. Really clean to lock down Patrick Bateman here. Will Hurricane have the damage to follow up, though? I do not believe so. And that's 2 ultimates expended in the bot lane before Cadman got there. Possibly a little premature, but that Ash support, you always just want to be putting those arrows out on cooldown. And speaking of cooldowns, that dragon is getting taken, but can't talk about dragons when everybody just wants to skirmish and scrap left and right. It's such an electric game here in the second one. Definitely see the Firebirds coming to life.
See this top lane fight going down hard right now. Trying to spend everything to see if they can at least get a kill. Both sides are trying to at least convert big ulti from Misfortune there. The bullet time once again. Put on some damage, not getting too much for it though. It's all good. Take your time. It's the trades in top lane, just looking pretty intense, but ending up at least fairly mellow for now as we move into our second half of the game.
Yeah, it's a very, early aggressive opening from Tempest that has been called out now time and time again by the Firebirds, and that's why you're seeing the gold dead even here. The Dragon, a little bit of hidden stats, but all around seeing the Firebirds really fire off on the same page this time. Nigerian Lord trying to evade this gank here from Godhand, doing a great job to stay alive for so long, but the ultimate from Godhand even longer. And there is Cadman coming in. Ash Enchanted Arrow going a little bit far to the left, and that's going to allow User Its Name to try to lock down this Olaf. Cadman getting a little bit too close to the fire, and Godhand smacking him down.
There's your early grave right there. I'm pretty sure he just smacked him and buried him with the hammer since we beat us immediately. That was absolutely brutal. Honestly, really, really solid play from Firebirds. Again, they've clapped back so effectively, taking a really sizable lead here at this point. And just putting Tempest, for the first time, on their back.
Yeah, we've not had to see the back foot be played on by Tempest yet, and thus far, it's not looking like it's a convincing first couple of exchanges. So far, they're really expecting them to be able to just run over the Firebirds, and they're not taking that kind of energy. They are sitting here with a great defensive stance, and they have been absorbing the pressure time and time again. One thing that you see when teams like to stack Drakes early is that they've kind of allowed the resources in the rest of the lanes to be just easily taken up by the enemy team. So sometimes you have dragons, but you don't have the strength that you really need to do what you want to do. You think that you have this big lead because, oh, we're up 2 Drakes, oh, we have these stats, but you don't really have the items for those stats to enhance yet.
The multipliers aren't really in play yet, and once you get those on deck, it's all good, and that's when you start really shining, but gotta wait, be patient.
Yeah, it's not 27-minute game yet. This is the first 13 minutes. Tempest are playing like they have a 10,000 gold lead at some points when that's not the case. Cadman getting way too close to the fire, like I said, up there in the top lane, and Godhand just being everywhere that he needs to be. This jungler started 0-3. He got to 0-3-2, and now he's 4-3-5. He has not died.
Yeah, Godhand's really showing up in the second half. I mean, this game too has been practically turned around by Godhand so effectively. You can see the results shining in. Really, really solid play so far, and you can only you can't do anything but really acknowledge just how much Firebirds have put in the work to make this an even game, because it was not in the first one.
Oh, there's a lockdown and cracked down Misfortune in the bottom lane. That Enchanted Crystal Arrow gonna do all the CC that's needed to be done for Cadman to follow up, and Nigerian Lord really playing with the fire here. But is he? Who is the bait and who is the predator? It switches so fast when Nigerian Lord brings out that shutdown like that.
Yeah, really perfect use of the lockdown there. Really perfect use of the turret to support yourself. I mean, just clinical counterplay there. Tempest is truly on a roll.
They have so many points of power that they can rely on. They're able to not have to just rely on excellent communication and team fighting like we've seen from the Firebirds. They can have these standout, breakout performances like we saw there. Nigerian Lord all by himself, baiting in what seemed unfavorable to the point of no return for user its name and getting paid in dividends. No teleport now on user its name, so the next ultimate that he does, the next fight that he does join, will leave whatever lane he was currently occupied in totally free for the Tempest to push. So he has to be very careful for the next 4 minutes or so until that teleport comes up.
He's being very careful. Well, he seems to be extremely careful in the next couple of minutes. I mean, the economy is suddenly even once again, if not slightly in the hands of Firebirds, but Tempest have brought it back to a even scoreline more or less, and this next fight can really dictate the actual swing of the second half of the match.
Some great stuff all across the board from both teams here in game 2. You love to see a close nail biter like this, and looking to take a bite out of Mounty there, but not going to happen. He's going to mount his escape and get out of dodge. While the Chemtech Drake is the focus for the Tempest.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking really, really solid and ready for a team fight here. This Chemtech Drake going to go down real quick. If you just dump all the DPS into it.
I think it's interesting they brought Nigerian Lord here without, seeing a fight come out on the other side of things. Very interesting. He's down deep, and great smite to come out from Cadman. That Misfortune ultimate can be an absolute deleter of those objectives. Yeah, that's a great mind by Royal Academy. Sometimes when a Misfortune positions there, she finds herself so exposed when somebody just dives onto her because she's so hyper-focused on the HP of the dragon. But there was an attempt at knocking down Mounty, but they get God Hand instead. Mounty still may fall, but God Hand is very fed. We cannot forget that. He is omni-vamping through this fight and able to survive for so long, but there is finally the shutdown to come out from Hurricane. They will continue the pressure here onto Void. Will they be able to pick him up? No, great flash across the wall, but the undertows are still coming out from Patrick Bateman's great flash across the wall. Is a snipe from Hurricane. This man is so slick. The marksmanship, it has to be admonished and admired, and Cadman is just looking for anybody to ravage upon.
And you can stop right here. Cadman, you can go ahead and leave. It's all good, dog. You have the lead. There's no need to keep going, but they're going to keep going. Get one more. Maybe another, but no, they're going to go down for the count. A little bit too greedy, but you know what? It's all right. Tempest have, not even if they didn't completely dominate that fight, which they more or less did, the economy line now for that shutdown alone is so valuable. 2.4k ahead now, and it's looking like the ball's in their court.
Yeah, 2.4 extra turret picked up there, so it's looking like 3, and that is going to be in addition to the 3 dragons that they have as well. So in the next 3 minutes, they're going to be able to grab that final Drake, get that soul on board, and that is going to be so devastating from the side of Tempest. They already have amazing sustain, great shielding, and all that's just going to be amplified. There's already just so many, like I said, points of power earlier that they can just reliably lean upon. They're even going with the AP build here onto Hurricane, so he's going to be just popping people with those arrows like we saw. He's so abusive with those piercing arrows.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of control you have with that kind of range is so valuable, and when it comes down to it, that kind of creep score ability as well is really, really solid. Now, I want to at least highlight just how much User Its Name is doing work for Firebirds to only keep their team alive, but to try and keep the top lane locked down. But when you're alone like this, you're dependent on by the team to handle it by yourself. Sometimes Tempest will pick up on that and be ready for it. You can see just how much they're ready to try and at least gank him here, but Godhand's ready to help out. Ain't no problem there.
Oh?
Drives him right in with the claw. Looks like they're gonna get a little bit of a clean escape there, but...
And then Mordekaiser ultimate is off cooldown, but it was not used. But speaking of ultimates, there is a massive Ragnarok to come out from Cadman.
No!
Not able to clean up the kill on Misfortune, but turns around under toes onto Void there and able to get a kill. It is just all around pressure being applied. Top lane, bottom lane, mid lane being left uncontested, but that's because there's really nothing neutral objectives besides this Baron that they want to be around. That's why you see most of the Tempest squad down up by that Baron. But man, I'm talking about down because looking down at this Misfortune getting found. Oh, so sad.
Yeah, pops out all, gets nothing for it. It's so unfortunate when you get that kind of at least attempt at a risk that you want to go for and then just get completely smacked in the face for it.
Now here I go with my open hook. Hopefully I don't have to tuck my chin. Oh.
Yeah.
Why am I waking up at my house?
Yeah. These blankets are mad comfy. I didn't know they had these in the ring.
Crazy. You love to see it. You love to see the retaliation that has come back from the Tempest here. We talked about a 2,000 gold lead, 3,000 gold lead. That's already at 5,000 now as things are just ballooning in their favor. 1 minute till this soul. You see Cadman has a little bit of an advantage on that timing, about 3 seconds earlier than his opposition. You see the pings on that timer. That's just going to lend to that much more early vision control. Everybody's going to be posturing towards that neck of the woods, and I wonder if there will be a huge fight that the Doro Academy Firebirds are able to pick up around this pit. It will be so integral for a comeback.
Yeah, Firebirds need something huge at this point. It has been... They fought really well and had an amazing counter gank, but at this point in time, Tempest just got away with way too easy of a balloon there, like you mentioned with the economy, and you can see Cadman just walking into anything he wants. He does not care. Walking into a 4v1. Who cares, yo? Still trying to win out this fight. Still gets a pick on Smoke Wolf. Smoke Wolf's got one on Patrick Bateman. Double kill from Cadman. Ringing true. And it's just looking like a complete sweep. Tempest are walking wherever they want. The streets are theirs, yo.
That Olaf makes my stomach hurt. Why you gotta do that? That's not kind. Man is going through ripping and raving, and you see that's exactly why things ended at the pace that they did.
No spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers.
No spoilers. We're not sure who won them for sure, but definitely an accelerated pace now with that Chemtech Soul engaged. They have that to their advantage. Will they be able to make it? Yeah, we do hear it. Sounds beautiful. But we don't know. We don't know. We don't know who won for sure. There was a victory screen hidden, but got everybody on their toes.
Yeah. Looks like we might have been kicked from spectator mode. We're hoping to get back in there for the final bit of the match, but we can clearly see it was swinging inside of Tempest for now. But we're gonna get back into it, thankfully. Very nice.
Yeah, well, I talked about them being able to use that Ocean or that Chemtech Soul to their advantage, but it's gonna be a Baron as well picked up. So that is why things are able to just go their way from here. I assume they have everything that they need. So much, you know, denial of lockdown. We talked about it in that picks and bans, and now they have all the items that they need to amplify those stats that were given by the Drakes. So it's a recipe for disaster against the Firebirds. They have to come up with something exceptional here.
And on top of that as well, they have so many bounties on deck that they can try and capitalize on. But what chance do they have when Tempest can walk anywhere they like? Just one person can walk into your field, and then all of a sudden it's a team fight. Yeah,
it's so much coming out from them. We theorized on it, we spoke on it, and we're seeing it now fully come into fruition for the Tempest squad. This is definitely a different style of composition and a different pace to the game that they were, you know, trying to bring out. They got called out a lot more here in game 2. But at the end of the day, the result looks very similar. We're sitting at 24 minutes with them having so many advantages in their hands. They have minions to bombard the top lane. They have inhibitors to destroy in the mid lane. They can just continue to poke and prod and never really commit to anything at this level until they want to hit that kill switch.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, you can see Firebirds is forced back into their own spawn. We see Tempest try to slowly chip through their turrets. Just a matter of time at this point as these Tempest start to tear through. Cabin leading the charge here as Godham's trying to hold them all back, but how long can you really do that without your team? You see, we're all respawning now. Gathering back up. Mountie locked down, but barely staying alive thanks to the ult. But again, it's just a barrage of damage. Cabin leading the charge. Godham's got no chance.
Great ultimate to come out from Patrick Bateman, but it's too much, too little, too late, and too much tanky stats on the side of the Tempest. What a great taunt across all three members there from the Shen, but at this point it just looks like the Tempest are playing with their food as they salivate at the Nexus. Get 50 gold, the main prize that you look for when you queue up for League of Legends and become the Florida FASA finalists, state champs. They out here, they're doing their thing. That was such a great performance from all 5 members. Big props to the Firebird for the fight that was brought out. We saw them do some great work there in game 2, but the Tempest going crazy. They had a tailwind tonight, and they were able to go crazy on it.
It was absolutely incredible. I mean, you can see how Firebirds had the solution, had the plan to really clap back eventually and be able to really even up that scoreline as much as they could in that second game. But when it came down to it, it just didn't really fully flow their way, and it's unfortunate, but surely look at them next time. You've learned your lesson. You've stolen some ideas for sure. You can see how Cabin all dominated that jungle and it just still balled in, right?
Yeah, they balled out. They had it, a game plan that they could easily rely on, and teammates that were the type of people to execute on that plan. So Tempest walking away with it. Shout out to the Coral Reef Senior High team, and we are at that with a wrap. Shout out to production to be able to get those last minutes to us from game 2, and just a big shout out to PlayVS for everything that they do. Everything's so professional, top of the line for these young talents that deserve this stage, like you mentioned earlier. Just it's so impressive to get to see them on the stage and performing the way that they are here. So big props to Florida FASA. If you enjoyed the commentary, give some love to Suplex Plus and Oski Champ, because you already know we would love to hear your feedback. And with that, we will see you all next time.
Yeah, it's been a good one, y'all. Thanks so much, and take care, y'all.
Thank you.